Today's the last day of October, October 31st. Apple reported earnings yesterday. You know the results. There's some really interesting things to see on the S&P, and we're going to get to that in a second. But first of all, we never hit the Globex high. Let's see if we can find out when that was. The Globex high was made, let's see. The Globex high was made last night, actually was made at 4:30 yesterday. So right after the close yesterday, we just continued to drift lower overnight because it became apparent that if there's no place to sign a trade deal like in Chile because of the problems that they're having there on the streets, they've canceled the Asia-Pac meeting that Trump was going to meet the Chinese Premier. Trump says he's going to find another location, but the other news indicates that the Chinese are not happy with the comments that Pompeo made, and they don't feel that the amount of agriculture products that they've been asked to buy is in the best interest of their economy. So they are putting the brakes on things, and that's what caused the market to drop down. We tested the prior day low, came up, were rejected at the Globex low, came back to the prior day low. The cloud got in the way, 5-minute cloud, and then came back to the prior day low again. So if you're trading the ES, these Fibonacci's are really important. We ended up just above the Globex low, so that's not really a stunning day. The advancers and decliners led the advancers by 2-to-1. That is significant. Not much volume in the Dow, surprisingly. Big volume in the NASDAQ, and that would be due to Apple, Facebook, others that have reported earnings recently. And the S&P 500 had volume that we've come to expect, just a little bit below average. But that means that now our McClellan oscillator, which has been churning here for a week in sort of no man's land, is going to return back down very close to the zero line, which means it's likely to go down further. Has it ever bounced off the zero line? Well, here it did, but not for very long. Here it didn't. Here it was rejected. Here it failed, rejected, bounced back a little bit, and then came back down. Rejected, 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 lost it, rejected, lost it. So we come back to the zero line, and we've never seen an instance where that has been really strong support to push the momentum back up to the overbought area. The summation index now is gone up again. So the prior summation index was 2984. The new summation index is 3026. So some would say, who are following the summation index, that we continue to move up in the summation, but the averages, which is what McClellan, the different distance between the two moving averages that he monitors, McClellan says that we're going back into a neutral position for money movement into and out of the market. But let's take a look at the S&P, because what did we say on the daily? We were looking for these candles to act more or less as support if there was any downwards motion in the market. Well, we had some downwards motion. We came back and had some recovery, but still wasn't a continuation of the upward motion. Now, this little square here is a gap. We closed the gap here. Let's draw in the gap tool because we didn't do that, and we should have done that. But let's just bring in the gap tool here. Motive Wave's little gap tool. And look at that. We closed the gap perfectly. So maybe that drop today was just to close the gap, and we're on our way back up again. But now let's take a look at that gap on the hourly chart. And look at that. The Chiku span went through the gap, as opposed to the 1 hour Chiku span trying to find support at the top of this candle. It went down through the gap, and now it's facing resistance from these candles. So that's going to be really interesting to watch tomorrow. Do we sneak up tomorrow and open up above 3040, which was the pivot point today? It won't be the pivot point tomorrow, but it was today, the Woody's pivot point. Do we open up there? Because if we don't open up above 3041, that means that the Chiku span is going to open below this candle, and you've got this kind of resistance. So just remember that. I'm going to take this, oops, sorry, didn't want to do that. I'm going to take this and I'm going to open this up. And tomorrow, we're going to watch the behavior of the Chiku span in this area. Apple, had some pullback, just a buying opportunity. That was the after hours trading. Was that the after hours trading? Let's take a look at the 15-minute. No, we had this one flash here. That could be let's say that's an erroneous trade. One single trade. Where is it? Doesn't matter. It's probably not a valid trade. So on the daily, we kept above the 8 and we finished at the top end of the range. So we moved up in the day and almost finished at the top. We did not create a new high. The new high still is October the 27th, but we came very darn close. My Apple puts were only worth about 11 cents when the market opened. I might as well hold on to them and just let them expire worthless tomorrow, and that will be about a $1,800 profit for selling those 3 puts, and that's in 3 days. If you don't understand that trade, just ask me a question in the comment section. Caterpillar, continuing to pull down, was not able to close the gap. Didn't get the volume necessary to close the gap, so we're coming down. I still have my short 133 calls. I rolled them yesterday to get another 25 cents out of them. I just feel that there's some weakness coming up in Caterpillar, if not weakness in the whole market. Gold. Remember we said way back here, October 24th, that gold was going to be attracted to this thin cloud on the daily, and that's what's happening. So let's watch tomorrow, and any weakness in the market, weakness in the dollar, and gold is going to pierce through this thin portion of the cloud, because if it doesn't take the opportunity today or Monday, then resistance gets a little bit tougher next week, and then after that it gets a lot tougher. So the gold bugs, if they're watching the cloud for the miners, are going to be looking for this breakthrough. Now we were stopped today with the Chiku span right under that candle wick. So that's important to notice. Same thing we saw right back here. We saw back here on the 19th of September, the Chiku span being stopped by the candle. Well, we saw it happen again today. Let's see what will happen tomorrow. If we squeeze through this, then that means that we've moved above the cloud. In order to get above the cloud, we have to get above this candle and look for that kind of support. So tomorrow in our video, we're going to be looking for this area right here, and I'm just going to draw a little box around there so that we can talk about it tomorrow. AT&T up 15 cents. Still probably going to make another charge at this gap that's been resistance. Look at this. This was clearly earnings. And aren't we glad we were out of WDC? It's still a stock that I like. I'd like it to come back to, first of all, I'm going to go and read the transcript of the earnings call and then take a look and see if it can get support on the 200 SMA, and then probably sell some puts rather than try to buy the stock, because I'm still worried about the market. We could get all the way back to closing to support, gap support, if we lose the 200. So let's keep an eye on that, okay? That gap support was created June 26th. That was not an earnings event. Whirlpool still pulling back, lost support of both both 50s, but ended up with above the simple moving average, but just below the EMA. Almost, there were some buyers at the 38.2% fib. Amazon tried to puncture the cloud and the 200, got rejected by both and got rejected by the 50. So you've got 3 points of resistance right here. It's going to make it tough for Amazon. Let's take a look at an hourly. And the hourly, it's above the cloud, and so is the Chiku span, and it got support on the 50 daily moving average. The Chiku span got support on this candle. So that's a good sign. It still has to break through all of these resistances, and that's going to be tough. I just do believe that it's going to continue to follow the line of the cloud or to drift in the cloud and find it's going to have a tough time working its way above the cloud because the Chiku span has so many things in its way here. So let's do a little square here too, and to remind us that this is the area that we want to be talking about when we talk again. Google, under the 8 EMA. I'm just not interested much in Google anymore. This is a stock that got away on me. I used to own it back at when I had 130 short calls on it. It could be breaking out. I guess its earnings were good, but something happened and pulled it right back because it did create this gap today. We'd have to see what happened on its earnings call. But let's keep an eye on Global Payments Network. I think they're an acquisition candidate for a MasterCard or a Visa or somebody like that. Thank you very much for listening.